Welcome to another edition of Undercooked So Rare Strategies. I'm going to be going over stacks, cheap stacks, $20 to $30, a limited stack of an MLS team. And I'm going to go over some of my run-throughs of how to do this, of what to use, of using SorareData, of using RotoWire Soccer, of using everything to figure out who you want to buy, figure out how to put together a team kind of a thing. So rotowire.com/soccer trial you're going to need that to get the stuff that I'm going to be using on RotoWire. And we also get stats. We got whatever. We got all this good stuff over at RotoWire. I have another video featuring RotoWire content in that you need for So Rare. So if you want to check that one out as well, that features pretty much everything that we have available. So again, the goal was, okay, so cheap value stack and something to put together for the 240 limited contest. And so if you've been playing So Rare at all, if you've been playing the past month, MLS prices have just dropped massively. And so that's kind of why I want to look at MLS. You have the other leagues where they've risen or they've kind of been stagnant a little bit. But MLS is okay. It's one of the leagues I follow more than the others, so that goes into it a little bit here for me. But there's a lot of cheap players out there that are going to be valuable that you can use, and when you compare that with other teams, or if you're okay with maybe holding on to these players, you can hold on to these players and maybe sell them before next season, kind of a thing. I think the reasoning for this $20 is that you're not really going to lose any money with this. I don't think it's really all that possible unless, things really do cave a little bit. But so it's just $20. And so the goal here, so the thought process is instead of spending up on some of the bigger MLS teams, some of the big MLS teams, if you're going to buy all the top goalkeepers, like you can't afford them for $20 to $30. It's just not possible. So the first step is finding your goalkeeper. You want a goalkeeper that is going to start and doesn't cost $100 kind of a thing. Okay. So let's go to SorareData to figure this out. And what we do here, you want to go scout. You want to go find a player card. So we're doing goalkeeper and we're looking for Major League Soccer. Again, this is something you could do for any league, really. If you know anything about any league, or if you just want to do some research. I usually like sorting by floor as well. So we're going to look at goalkeepers. And I'm going to scroll towards the bottom a little bit because, as you can see, like our goal here isn't to get the most expensive goalkeepers in MLS. All these guys are fairly expensive, so we're not going to look at them. So we're going to scroll down a little bit and see who we can actually get to. So, okay, towards the bottom, sure, we got third string, second string, guys who probably won't be playing very much. So let's try and scroll to see who's actually going to play. Tim Malia is someone that you could kind of take a chance on at this point. He's just now, it is July 28th. He actually may play Monday against Chivas. We don't know, but he is coming back from an injury, and we've seen Kendall McIntosh play the last couple months. We've seen Pulskamp play in this last Leagues Cup game. I don't think he looked very good, but I still think Melee is the number one. I mean, his future in the team may not be great. He may not be there anymore, but there's a slight chance that you're getting like a discounted Melia here, and he could start the rest of the season for Sporting Kansas City. You could take a chance on him, maybe somewhat risky. You got a couple more backups here that may be, bought elsewhere, may be playing for other teams next year kind of thing. Bono has gotten a couple starts here and there, but he is not the number one. Same thing with Freeze. McIntosh's price has dropped a little bit because Pulskamp started the last Leagues Cup game. And then, as mentioned, Tim Malia is coming back from his injury. So McIntosh's spot in the team is unknown at the minute, but he did start about 2 straight months worth of matches for Kansas City. So you can take that one for what it is. Portland's goalkeeper situation is hit or miss. I'm not going to look at it. the first two guys that come up for me that I would consider here. Of course, we're going to be in the older goalkeeper range, because as you start going up, it's going to be you're going to be spending more, and you even got like guys like Barassa, who isn't guaranteed to play every match. I just found that out. I had a great team in my 240. Barassa doesn't play. Matt Fraser gets the start in this most recent game for NYC. And instead of getting, 350, 400 points, I am left with, sub 300 kind of a thing for my roster. But that's just what Sorare does for you. So what I was looking here, Steve Clark, Stephen Fry, both these guys 37. I think both are in range to be signed again for next season. I think both are on 1-year contracts, end of this year maybe. Fry has been a little more injury prone last couple of years. I think he had a concussion earlier this season. They're both kind of in the same price range. I actually think Clark is a little cheaper, though, as you compare the 3-day average and the floor price here. But so Clark is a guy I want to focus on. So you're not going to be using him 3 years from now. This is kind of why he's a little cheaper, and he's only on contract till the end of the year. But Clark has done well for Houston the last couple of years, and I don't think he's really dropped a step at all. He's been pretty solid for the Dynamo. There's a chance, sure. There's always a chance. This is kind of risky, just buying an old goalkeeper. But for now, we're guaranteed about 10, 11 matches the rest of the MLS season. In Leagues Cup, there is a chance that Houston makes some kind of run in Leagues Cup. They're going to have at least one more match in Leagues Cup. So we got that match. And then if they win that, and if they win another game or something like that, you got just a couple bonus matches in Leagues Cup for Steve Clark. But no matter what, he's going to start the rest of the matches for the Dynamo. I think that's most important here for what we want to do. So we want a goalkeeper who we know is the number one. We know he's going to start. And I think in terms of Clark, I would say that I think Houston are going to sign him for another year contract, because he did well enough this season. I think he still has enough in him. You're 38 years old kind of thing. Maybe one more year for him, but I still think that if they do sign with another contract, I think his price will go up a little bit, I guess. As you can, I mean, these recent prices don't mean a ton, because overall the Sorare prices have gone here and there. But I think if we look at this February to March, we didn't really know if he had a contract here, and then maybe went up a little bit. And usually at this point in a league like MLS, a good point is, for now at least, it's 0.02 ETH is kind of what for a starting goalkeeper, that's kind of what the mid-range pricing is for just like a starting goalkeeper who is not U23, who is just a starting goalkeeper kind of thing. So if you can buy him for 0.005 right now, and then if he gets up, even if he doubles in price, if he signs that new contract next year, you're just getting a bonus right there. Sorry, I clicked on his profile and then opened on a new tab, so that you didn't actually see that in the video. But either way, you got what I was saying. So kind of my selection with Steve Clark is that we know he's going to be starting. We might have bonus matches in Leagues Cup. We're banking, or maybe not. We're not even banking on him signing that new contract next year. But if he doesn't, whatever. It's a loss of $10 really, and then you got a Steve Clark card for life. Otherwise, you have. So my thoughts with Houston here is what I like to attack with these cheaper squads is, because you're not going to get the top 6 teams. You're not going to get guys from Manchester City. You're not going to get guys from whoever, even like Philadelphia. You're just not going to get the high end guys here when you want to build a value stat kind of a thing. So Houston, mid-range, mid-table team that's pretty good at home. And so if you think of it like that, so okay, half their matches are against teams worse than them. Okay, well, this is just, I'm just kind of using, maybe that's not the exact number. I haven't looked at their exact schedule upcoming, but let's just say a mid-table team, half their matches are against teams worse than them, and then half of those matches are at home. So on this basis, a mid-table team that you want to attack in stacks for a cheap stack, a quarter of your games are at home against a team that's worse than you. So technically, a fourth of the lineups you play in 240, assuming they are eligible for 240, but we're going to try to get them eligible. So assuming they're eligible, fourth of your lineups, they're going to win you back money. So in the limited 240, that's just another $5 kind of a thing. And 10, 11, 12 matches left in MLS, and Houston are also right on the verge of getting into the playoffs as well. So that's another game. Then you also got Leagues Cup. So maybe you can get up to 15 matches with Steve Clark and a Houston Dynamo stat kind of thing. But let's just say a fourth of them we're winning money off of. We're hitting the threshold of 250. How about that? So off that basis, even if it's 12 games, okay, we win 3 times, okay, that's $15, and this is a $20 lineup we're basically building off. So that's kind of what I'm coming at here. So how do we build around Steve Clark? Okay, so let's get into Houston Dynamo on SorareData. Click on roster, and then we're going to see the prices of all these players, and we're going to see who we can actually fit into a squad that's cheap. And as I said, all the MLS prices are cheap. And the other site we want to use, of course, let's go to RotoWire Soccer. Let's go here. And I'm going to be comparing because I'm doing this on video. I can't really go back and forth here between the tabs. So let's get into it right here, and I'll show you what I use to look at. So I went to MLS team pages, and I clicked on Houston. This has season stats, this has game logs, and you can even sort by minutes, see what's going on there. But most importantly for me, I want to look at team lineup trends. I want to look at who's starting recently, so I know that I'm actually getting a guy who's actually going to start. So as you can see here, here's what we got. So again, it's Sviatchenko, Steers, guys are starting defenders. They've used pretty much the same 11 here and there. I know Karaskia, was playing in Gold Cup, so we missed a bunch of games, but he is back now. He's been playing in Leagues Cup. Artur, Mikel, Franco Escobar, you got all these guys. Aliu, a young forward, has been starting a lot. Luis Caicedo has gotten some starts here, but he was getting more time because of Karaskia being out. And Ivan Franco is in here. Nelson Quinones, another young forward. So those are kind of the guys we're looking at. Hector Herrera, most expensive player. We won't be looking at him because he is so expensive. So again, I'll be looking at tabs. I personally look at tabs back and forth, but since we can't really do that here, let's go back and see some prices. So, okay, we got Steers as a cheap defender. Mikel, because he's young. He is more expensive, so he's out of the range. Sviatchenko, he's in range. He's a little older, him and Steers, but they are regular starters. So those are probably what I'm looking at. Franco Escobar might be an option. Griffin Dorsey doesn't start every match, and that's kind of it looking through this list of all the guys I just read back. So, okay, that's 0.0015 between 2 defenders that can fill up 2 spots. So Daniel Steers and Sviatchenko. And we have Steve Clark. We'll say Steve Clark is 0.005, 0.0055, 0.006, something in that range. So we got 0.0015 between Sviatchenko and Steers. Okay, so that's 2 defenders. And again, obviously the 240 fitting in this range is the difficult part, because as you can see with their numbers, they're green. They're in the green. They've had some good results, and that's what happens when you play at home and get clean sheets for defenders. So that is something, but I think we can still get under that mark. So who are we going to fill in midfield? Hector Herrera's out of it. Karaskia, I think, would be an option. Quinones is a possibility as well. Artur would be a cheap midfielder. So we got a few options. You could even get a couple if you have a couple extra bucks, if you want to make this instead of $20, $30. So you got more range of options here in case, Karaskia 1 week it has a goal or something. So his last 15 is a little higher than everyone else's. So you have options, but as you can see here, Karaskia is 0.002. So he is a little more expensive. We can add either Quinones. As you can see, his floor just isn't there. He is a gold or bust Sorare player. We can go into his profile if we really want to look into it and then see kind of what his scores look like. Let me pull this up on the screen here for you. But we can look at his scores here. And as you can see, the floor just isn't there. Most of his good performances, goal or assist kind of a thing. So also of note, maybe his time is less now that Karaskia is in the lineup. But Artur, defensive midfielder, should be there. I mean, we can get 0.001 probably for him right now. So we're at 0.0025 for 3 field players. So we got plenty of wiggle room here, and then point whatever for Steve Clark. So now we need a forward. I guess this is the hard part because we have some young guys. A forward comes off the bench. If you want a bench player who's going to get 25 maybe, I guess that is in play. But again, he costs us about the same as Corey Baird here. Corey Baird, something like that. So actually, if we can, okay, if we go back to RotoWire, let's see, why is Corey Baird so cheap? Let's figure this out. So we type Baird's name in, or we can go back to that. If you have both tabs up, just go back to that team page is up. Okay, I mean, he's starting pretty much every match. It's just that, okay, he has 3 goals, 2 assists, 23 matches. He just doesn't get on the score sheet that much. So that's pretty much why. Doesn't have much of a floor as a forward, which is pretty typical. But we can get him for about 0.001, 0.0015 kind of a thing. So there you go. I mean, he is a guy who starts just about every match. So you got your 4 field players. You got Clark. And I think we're under $20 now. Now that we look into it, I don't know how many you're going to win, but just as I said, think about it: a mid-table team, Houston at home, every 1/4 of your matches, you're going to be favored, and you're going to have a chance to score 3 or 4 goals and get a clean sheet. So that's kind of what I'm coming at from here. So even though these guys have low floors and everything, but when they score, they score. I mean, we look at I'm just looking at recent home matches for Houston, and pretty much as I just said, okay, a couple matches ago, 2 goals against Sporting Kansas City, but 4 goals against San Jose, 4 goals against LAFC, that is 4 goals against Minnesota. That was in the U.S. Open Cup. So we got all these games where we know at home they can score goals in bunches, and that was just in the past month. So I mean, really, you can even get a bench player if you want to you can add Karaskia in here, and that'll probably get you up to $30 maybe. But so there you go. I mean, $20-$30 worth. We have a Houston team that you can use in maybe 15 matches. I think right now we're guaranteed for 12 more matches for him this season. And then I don't think any of these guys, I mean, you can look into their contract situation, see what their status is ahead of next season. But I think at this point, most of these guys aren't going to drop drastically in price. Maybe Steve Clark retires. Okay, he's going to drop in price. That's fine. But I don't think Daniel Steers is ready to retire. I don't think Sviatchenko is ready to retire. Obviously, Karaskia is not. He's on the. I guess Karaskia is in talks of going to Europe. I guess that is one thing. So that would be in play for someone like him. I don't think Artur would be in that range, but so we have these guys that probably are only going to increase in price. They'll probably increase in price ahead of next season, and I don't think they're going to drop. Well, maybe they'll drop in the off season kind of a thing, but even Corey Baird here, just a cheap forward. He's 27 years old, regular starter. So there you go. This is my take on just getting a cheap squad that you can use in the 240s. $20-$30 worth. Again, this is MLS, so there's only so many matches. That's why these guys are cheaper than everyone else. You can look at Premier League, you can look Italy, you can look Spain, you can look wherever, you can look France for all of these. But again, you're just not going to find the $20 lineups because right now, European goalkeepers, you're not really going to see a European goalkeeper this cheap. At least one that you know is going to start every match. So I think that's a difference here. What you're getting with Steve Clark and what you're getting with some of these MLS goalkeepers, you know they're going to start every match. Otherwise, in Europe, these goalkeepers are pretty expensive, and you can't really put together a $20-$30 limited lineup here. But that's what I got here, rotowire.com/soccer trial. Hopefully this helped in just your process of putting together a lineup, process of looking over things, process of using SorareData with RotoWire Soccer. Hopefully that helped for you. Hopefully you learn a few things, but otherwise, I mean, maybe just grab put together a lineup, see how many 240s you can win with it, and run with it. I might. I was gonna do it before the show. I might do it after the show though. But good luck with that. This has been Undercooked Sorare Strategies. You can find me at RotoZdroik on Twitter and RotoWire Soccer on Twitter as well. Thanks for watching. Make sure to give thumbs up